Oh. Yeah, there's a cheaper.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just need a couple. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Please stand for when we call the meeting to order and we'll pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Lauren.
Jim Carpenter. Al Black.
Here.
Lois Bailey.
Here.
Tim Onon.
Here.
Alan Campbell.
Here.
Mark Walton.
Here.
Rebecca Benedict.
Here.
Keith Ledoux.
Here.
And Charles Scottbell.
Here. Ask for someone to make a motion to approve the agenda, or do we have any existing corrections or whatnot to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone have a conflict of interest with any of the items on today's agenda? Hearing none, I'll assume none. Public comment, is there anyone wishing to make a public comment at this time? Staff comment from Lauren or any other members of the staff?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's bad.
Consideration of the September 17, 2025 meeting minutes. Motion to approve the minutes if there's no corrections or adjustments.
I move accepting that. Or.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna approve minutes. There is no unfinished business, so we're down to the first discussion and action item, which is for Kathy to give us an update on financials.
What I put on the dais for you today is a two budgetary status reports, one as of September 30th and one as of October 31st. The Board of Commissioners approved your gazebo project last night, as well as your disc golf. So I made the budget amendment to put the gazebo repairs and repair and maintenance. So I reduced your capital outlay, increased your repair and maintenance. So when those bills come in, we'll pay it from that line item. And basically just wanted to show you where you're at with your budget. I see a little bit later in your agenda about a transfer of your unspent capital expenditure money. If your disc golf comes in and the bill is paid, that pretty much is going to wipe out your capital outlay. I think that was the discussion you had last month. Does that ring a bell? Okay. So,
I was just gonna reiterate that when we got to that. item,
Okay.
but
and I gave you the transaction history. This is about the time of year when, expenses for wages and whatnot for, your park employee gets, switched back to buildings and grounds. And so your wages are going to just have a bit of the director's wages for the rest of the year attributed to your budget, but this is pretty much it for the year. We'll just pay the October bills and it'll be a pretty tight budget, but I think you're okay.
When you talk about transferring over the copay or our share, when we get that DNR grant, that goes over though, right?
It's already in 470. You've already got $110,000 sitting in a project, capital project fund for parks. And
Right.
so there's 110 available. I understand your match on approval of the grant would be 50.
Right.
So that would leave 60,000 still in the capital projects fund
That's
for
right.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Does that answer all the questions today? Okay,
any other?
I see nodding.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you. Sure, sure.
Thank you, Catherine.
Welcome.
On to the facilities director's report.
Basically, we're just moving ahead with all the projects. We weren't able to secure painting with the gazebo, but we will get the roof replaced. The painting will have to wait till next year, next spring. So we only had 2 contracts. People respond to our request for quotes, and we had 1 respond for painting, 1 respond for the roofing. And the people at painting says we can't get to it till next spring. So that's the situation with that.
Does that change anything you just said?
It's a repair and maintenance item, so that invoice would be paid out of the 26 budget. So if you want to talk about your proposed budget with Mr. Dyer in your next agenda item, I would ask for an increase in your repair and maintenance line item for next year. For that, does that make sense? Okay.
We did award the disc golf to Aloft, which is a local group, and it's full of a lot of the volunteers that they really have a passion for not only Leelanau County, but the sport of disc golf. So I think that was just signed yesterday. So we will schedule with them and figure out what their timeline is for completion. I hope to have it completed before the cold gets here. So stand by for more information about that. Other than that, I am just looking at CIPs for next year. One of the things that they talked about, that you talked about, was the pour barn bathrooms, which involves building a septic construction. And there's been some issues with the bridge at Veronica Valley. So you'll probably see some more, either a new one, or I'll add it to the other one that refers to the ramp or the approach to the bridge. So I might see if I can revise that one, maybe combine that into one.
The loop trail and the approach to the bridge would be that one.
That's already been put in, but there was a bunch of recommendations by the MMRA back in 23. They made references to the state of the bridge. And so you'll probably see something coming up on that in the spring.
This would be a maintenance and repair.
I don't know yet. Got to go take a serious look at it, and kind of like they did with the dam walkway. So probably could go in 2 directions. Could go as a repair and maintenance, or if you guys want to do a complete overhaul like they did with the dam walkway, that'll have to be discussed here.
That
just the space between where we've talked about the cable. Putting the cable in there because there's too much of a gap.
I have the specific notes here. The Mac Bridge has openings in the rails more than 4 inches and is a head entrapment and fall through hazard. So it says install boards reduce the opening to smaller than 4 inches.
Is that all the way across the bridge, or is that just for access to the bridge?
I'm just getting around to addressing this for, coming up. So I'll have to go on site and take a good look at using this as a guide to understand what they're talking about.
Charles, can you outlay a bit more on the problem with the bridge?
Well, the bridge issue, which is the gap is too wide, so we need to fill up the gap so someone can't get caught in it. But I thought there was also the approach to that, or to the fishing area is a pathway area that keeps washing out, and the stone ends up down in the pond.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
That's a separate thing.
Can you, the 4-inch gaps, is that all the way over the bridge?
That I'm not so sure
I
of.
think it is from beginning to end. And we discussed of possibly running cable. As far as an inexpense fix is run a cable back and forth. You drill holes through the steel structure, you just run a cable through it. That would close that gap up. I mean, we probably should get, proper recommendations how to do that, but I think that was one discussion, was running cable.
That sounds, and does anyone talk about putting a wood deck over it? No, I just don't know which would be cheaper, but boy, that sounds. I don't know what you guess. I don't know which one would be cheaper.
Well, I would assume we'll let the go check it out and come back with what his best solution is that we're paying. We can guess about it all day today, but if we don't know what needs to be done, we can't make a decision, so.
I just brought it up because it was on my to-do list.
Well, yeah, I know exactly what the problem is, and before I really did.
And if you didn't already have the repair or coming up with a fix for that area that keeps washing out on the path down by the fishing area, you need to put that on.
We did identify that the road going out to the pole barn is basically an earthen dam. And so we are taking a look at that, and we may contact some people to look at that in terms of trying to reduce erosion there too. It's just those again are on our to-do list. We're aware of them. We're just putting them into the queue and trying to address them as we get to it.
Last item I had for you was we've had emails going back and forth regarding the beaver problem. If it's a problem or if it's not a problem, what the DNR has recommended.
We have all sorts of beaver information for you. We have taken some action. Actually, we have some results today, and I will leave the whole beaver narrative to Jordan here.
Yeah. So confirmed, we considered them a nuisance, right?
Yes.
So,
and this was all per the DNR. We contacted them directly, and this was their recommended course of action.
so they've been declared a nuisance over there. So we were able to legally set traps ourselves. And
we got licensed too.
Yep, yeah, we're licensed, so everything is legal there. So far, I think we set 4 of them out there. We have caught 1 so far. I strongly believe there is a lot more than just 1 over there, just by the damage that's been done so far. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I mean, so far we've had good results with the traps, so.
Rather than using trap or rod, we're doing it in-house.
Yes, we are doing it in-house. Yeah,
Sheriff Barkovich was able to assist us in getting a nuisance permit, and I obtained a fur bearer's license. So you can, with the permit, you can do it in October. The season opens up November 1st. So at a cost of about $160 so far for everything. We're doing it ourselves. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they caught one.
and we set them yesterday morning and we caught one already.
So where is he or she?
So, because the season isn't open and you have a permit to, a nuisance permit, you dig a hole and bury it.
No.
And November 1st, we can do what we want one.
Nice.
And maybe we can make a little profit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, find out how much a pelt costs and recoup our money.
How is that mean?
I heard it's really good. It tastes like hot rock.
Tastes like chicken.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Do you think it's better to wait till November 1st?
No, because of the amount of damage that's being, that's occurring out there. And we have a legal right to do it. We're gonna continue on and we're gonna set traps every day. And if we catch every day, we'll keep setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Any questions for Patrick and company on any subject that you want covered?
I did, I was gonna follow up with you. I asked, and I didn't hear anything from you about the cedar chips for Old Settlers.
Yeah, I don't have however, I make a maintenance request. So we can get together after the meeting and I can get that.
Yeah, you took off last time. I was like, where'd you go? We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And
I might ask, and Jim, you might be able to help me on this. I don't remember there was a request for the Wi-Fi. And we, on a county board level, it wasn't completely clear, I don't think, on whether that would be for everybody or just the booster would be for employees mostly. I made a comment that I thought if you're gonna put that in, it would probably be at the shed, but I don't know where you would put it. Yeah.
I can speak to that. Originally, the plan was, I thought, well, the cost of Starlink, when you look at the installation and all that, I thought if you're gonna install it, might as well make it available for public use. That way you can put, hey, make a comment, make a donation, can there be access for public feedback? That was one direction. During the planning commission meetings, that was shut down. I wasn't there to defend it. So it was put at a lower priority. And so then when I put together my budget, I said, well, we can always do cell phone amplifiers. And I looked up those models, just came up with a price for them. You know, you'd have to do more in depth to make sure we had the best ones, but I had to get a place saver in there somewhere. And it's two different ways of solving the problem. The guys need access to the maintenance management software, and it's a safety hazard. I included something that talked about a couple different accidents that happened there. If you're asking me, I think the public should have access to it, one, for the feedback, and two, for emergency services. So whether you choose to go through setting up Starlink and doing public Wi-Fi, that, you know, you would have two different, like we do here, we've got the public Wi-Fi, then we've got the proprietary county Wi-Fi, you know, that you need to have the special password to get on. That's how I would set it up. I'm not exactly sure how the cell phone boosters work. I think they just boost all signals.
My only comment on that is I do think for our employees, it's important. I'm not so worried about having access to everyone who uses the park, but I do think for our employees somehow, and I don't know how you do that.
The only response to that I would give, that if someone needs emergency services and one of us aren't there, how would they get help? they'll have to go back to their car and then drive to a place where they get cell signal. So I think it's kind of a chink in our armor in terms of a safety net. I also know like that's Leelanau, there's some gaps for service.
So I've never tried to make any phone calls from the parks. Is there one that has no service at all?
Veronica Valley has virtually no service. Miles Kimberly is sketchy. Old Settlers is fine.
Yeah, Miles and Old Settlers aren't too bad. I usually get good service out there.
With Miles, it's just the back 40.
You get back in the woods, it gets a little iffy, but other than that, yeah.
And we do have cross-country trails back there in the winter.
No.
I got, an email from the dog catcher about enforcing the pets in the park. And the issue is, the, someone's got the sign up front that you can't have any dogs not on leash or whatever. But it's only on the one entrance. And you can't write a citation unless it's on both entrances.
Old Settlers, you said?
Look at the signage on both of those to make sure that we have signage on both into the park so that he can enforce the park rules.
Which
We-
parts?
We have a couple of signage issues. There was one for the boundary at Old Settlers that we need to get made up. The Veronica Valley sign is looking beaten and needs to be replaced, repaired. And so we'll just add the pet signage. You said to Miles Kimberly,
I thought it was Miles Kennedy.
but we might as well check it for all parks, right? Because it's the same policy throughout.
There are two entrances into Old Settlers, and only one of them has a sign that indicates no dogs.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Yeah, Veronica does have two different parking lots as well.
And either way, it's gotta be on each entrance so that they can do.
Technically, there are two entrances and one exit at Old Settlers.
Veronica Valley has one on Center Road. The signage is there. I believe it's at the front by the Porta Johns.
Yeah, I believe Maple Valley parking lot has one as well. So I think Veronica is,
So it'd be Old Settlers then by the new pit toilets.
yeah.
So we need to get some signs made.
I think in Old Settlers, that was more than just a signage issue when I talked to him. He was talking about how the sign was worded somehow, like the dog could be on the road, but not off the road or something like that. I can't, but it's been 3 months since I talked to him.
I will, I'll shoot, it's Wayne Kalchek, right?
That's what he said.
I'll shoot him an email.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does specify that the dogs can only be on the road.
On pavement, and for him, that's like, okay, how am I ever gonna enforce
Yeah.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand.
So it really comes down to a decision on this board. I don't know if it's our county board who makes the rules for these, and whether you're going to allow dogs in the park or not.
That would be a BOC decision, not ours. But if we could
It
recommend.
seems like you'd have dogs on a leash
yeah.
and they could walk them. I mean, a lot of people walk in dogs. It's hard to believe you have dogs.
Jim,
Effective in 1971, the Leelanau County Board of Supervisors, in regular session of May 11th, 1971, adopted an ordinance that says no dogs or other animals shall be allowed within county parks, picnic grounds, and places of recreation unless the same are on a leash or kept within a secure container which prohibits their release. You already have an ordinance that addresses the issue. I think what the animal control officer is referring to, in order to have adequate notice of the existence of the ordinance to the people that he might want to ticket, it's not so much that you have to have the notice of the ordinance. You know, it's the old ignorance of the law is no excuse, but notice makes it easier to convince a judge or jury that there was a violation. That's really what he's talking about. He's mentioned it to me as well. We should just do whatever is necessary to make sure that ordinance is is enforceable.
So sounds like signage at the entrances that say pursuant to whatever that
Yep.
document was you just said.
Yep.
Dogs are, here's the requirements.
I do believe there's something strange going on in that old settlers one for some reason. That was, and he said the same thing to you. I believe. So,
Yeah,
just check the
the other
word.
thing that I noticed too is that park, that ordinance in 1971, although it describes generally county parks, the only one that it specifically references Old Settlers picnic grounds. That's the only one it references by name. So you might want to take a little bit of a look at updating the 1971 ordinance.
So definitely Veronica Valley
Yeah.
wasn't in the network then.
Correct,
That was
Veronica Valley was not.
2017. When was Mount Kimberly?
Well, Kimberly wasn't there either.
Yeah, so both of those parks came in after 1971.
Well, the ordinance is broad enough that I think it talks about county parks. So, whether they were in existence at the time or not, the ordinance still applies to them. The assumption is when we designate a park, that that any applicable ordinances apply to the park that we established after 1971, but that's still notice to people that use the park is vital.
Is that, if I might ask, is that a criminal or is that a civil matter?
It's a criminal, so 90-day misdemeanor. It could be, and that's one of the things you might want to look at, might want to actually make it a civil infraction. That's much easier to enforce, and there's no requirement. There's a requirement of proof beyond a reasonable doubt and criminal intent in order to enforce it. And that may be the reason that, why the dog officer and the prosecutor want signs so they can prove criminal intent. Changing it to a civil infraction might be a good strategy.
That makes it the same thing as a life jacket ticket.
Yeah.
What is the final verbiage of the sign going to say? I'd like to know, does it say leash or what? What?
Do you know the exact sign? While he's doing that, I just want to review some of the things we talked about. You guys make sure that I captured everything that you brought up. We have Veronica Valley bridge and erosion issues, playground equipment and cedar chips at Old Settlers. Is it just Old Settlers?
Right.
Pets are allowed in the park and must be on a leash no longer than 6 feet in length and under control by owner at all times. Owner is also responsible for any cleanup and messes by pets. That's Veronica Valley.
I believe it says the same at Miles Kimberly too,
So yeah, it
on
would
the big
repeat.
side.
Any other hot topics for Patrick?
I did want to bring up one more thing at Veronica Valley. Sure you guys have all seen it, that tree that is probably more than dead.
That will
Yeah, on the other side of the pond there. How we want to go about that, I feel at some point that's start to become a safety hazard. Limbs have already been falling off. And what we want to do with that. Dwayne and I kind of talked about maybe just dropping it into the pond, creating a kind of fish
Sanctuary.
habitat, yeah, sanctuary. Yeah, I feel like we need to probably do something with that sooner than
Probably
later.
gonna have to go anyway when they put down the pathway,
Okay,
because that one limb that's hanging over, they said that's gotta go because they can't get their equipment.
gotcha, okay. If anybody has any suggestions or whatever. But
good solution.
Yeah, I think we talked about just dropping it,
Mhm.
and putting it right into the pond and we'll make a good fish sanctuary.
Yeah.
all right.
Anything at all? Got the dock out at Old Settlers. We're ready for winter. Yep.
Thank you.
The bottom of the stairs there are obstructed, or do people still go all the way down the stairs?
Yes, it's not obstructed. You,
Not obstructed like it was last year, okay.
yeah, the docks are still on the right-hand side, and we have to do repairs on the wooden things on top, so those will go away, but they're not away.
Mr. Dyer, you're up.
Well, the budget report for this meeting is not a whole lot different than last meeting. We did have a budget session yesterday with the Board of Commissioners. We are recommending a budget that basically continues or carries over what you are currently doing. You're the one department that we actually carry over a specific amount of capital improvement over $5,000 funds in the amount of $55,000. We're proposing to continue that. Assuming that we don't get a response to the Veronica Valley grant, the money that is held for that purpose will also be rolled over into 2026. And with respect to what we just heard from Patrick regarding the board did approve painting of the gazebo. So if that can't be done, and assuming what I'm hearing is it can't be done this year, we will roll over a like amount as an addition to that budget, so we can pay for that authorization in 2026 that occurred in 2025. So that should take care of most of the budget issues that you've presented. I mean, anything beyond what we've proposed is going to require some additional revenue source, I think, but that's something for a much larger discussion and probably not during 2026. Are there any questions?
Second item I had on here was the discussion about the 2026 grant applications.
Yes, yeah, but that was one of the things that we talked about yesterday. There was a notion of a $30,000 line item for grant applications. What I suggested to the board was that was an amount that was, if we were actually going to pursue that, it would be worth looking at either a contract to do grants for all departments of the county, or of an employee for that purpose. And we're not really prepared to do that yet. But I think the sense of the board, we didn't really, they didn't have a vote on it, but I believe the direction that the administration got from the board, and we intend to include in our pro forma budget that we present to the board at the end of this month for consideration, is a roughly $5,000 amount to cover at least one grant that is targeted for pursuing in 2026 for a 2027 project, such as the projects that you've already discussed and prioritized in Miles Kimberly Park. That pretty much sum it up, Commissioner Campbell? Yeah.
That was a struggle.
I don't think it was that much of a struggle, but you're right.
No, I think there was, when the discussion started, there was a consensus or strong backing for zero on that item. And I think we talked them off the ledge and got one in anyways. And frankly, I think we all knew that the $30,000 was a stretch, in that it's one thing to apply for that many grants. It's another thing to be able to pay for your share or your match. So we got one, all right, and that's better than zero. You just have to do it right.
And one thing that we considered, and actually in the pre-meeting with your chair this afternoon, is the idea that we might be in a position to recommend to the board that they essentially, and we probably would have to do some proposals or bids for this. Maybe not a full RFP, depending on the amount involved, but definitely at least requests for qualifications for somebody to essentially be designated as a contract grant finder, writer, whatever, that we would be pre-authorized to use if you had the budget to do so, rather than having to both get approval for the budget, approval for the specific contract with a specific grant writer each time. We would have someone that we would pre-designate as acceptable for use by the county. We just have, considered that as an option, and that's something that I think would make it a little bit easier to accomplish, but that would require board approval for us to do that.
In regards to the disc golf money,
Yep.
will that roll over to 2026 as well if the project isn't done?
We anticipate that being completed.
Yeah, we do. But I would say yes to that. I mean, our basic method of operation would be if we have an approval for a specific project in 2025 and it's not completed, any amount that is unspent would go into that. We don't normally do that for just budgeted, appropriated but not allocated funds. We wouldn't normally do that, but when there's a specific, approval by the board in one budget year, we would carry it over to the next if it just didn't get completed. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions from Mr. Dyer?
Thank you for the chance, Mr. Chair.
Okay, item 4 was a request of VOC approval to transfer the remaining 2025 capital expenditures. Right now, it's anticipated we're actually going to spend pretty much all the money that's left this year. So we're not going to need to do any transfer. But if there is monies which have been approved by the Board of Commissioners that hasn't been actually spent, that money will roll, as we talked about, into 2026 because it's been approved by the board for expenditure. Lauren, do you have an update on the Veronica Valley grant status?
Only that our additional letters of support and the information compiled by Tiffany with MCSA has been successfully submitted to DNR. I worked with Finance Director Kathy Hardisfeld to get logged in and touch base with Tiffany and got the confirmation that everything was submitted on time and successfully. And now, again, we wait.
When is that decision going to be supposed to be made?
I don't know. We were eligible for, I think, an additional 85 points. And I don't know when they'll make an announcement or let us know if we've been awarded those points. I believe it should be by the end of the year, but I don't know.
Normal schedule has the awards done in December. And then there's the appropriations process for the House and Senate, that the monies that they allocate out of the fund would have to be an appropriation bill that goes and gets passed and gets signed by the governor, which usually happens sometime in January, based on the way this House and Senate are working or not working. We have no idea. But there is, after the award by the DNR, then there's the appropriations process that has to take place. Okay, the subject came up with a need for a Parks and Rec 5-year plan amendment. I did some research and I emailed you all the guidance from the DNR for whether we would need to make an amendment. The first paragraph pretty much says you really don't need to, for the most part, especially even if a project is not included in your action plan. as long as that project would meet the goals and objectives of the other parts of the plan, then you would still submit that project for a grant application, even though it's not specifically listed on your action plan. However, the projects that we want to do in 2026 and 2027 are already specifically listed in the current action plan. So at this point, I don't know that we need to do one unless someone has some idea that we should do one otherwise or anyway. But I don't see us getting it done by the time frame that it has to be done, which is January 1st. Because it has to go to a public hearing, it has to be a public discussion. There has to be a resolution by the Board of Commissioners to send the amendment to the DNR. I don't see us getting that done between now and then. So I think what we would like to do, I would see us doing is planning for 2026 to put together an amendment that would be filed the first part of January 2027. Someone disagrees with me? Go ahead.
Well, not necessarily disagreeing, but I did read the master plan when I got assigned to this board. And it seemed like there were some things that could have been improved so that it maybe makes our grant application stronger. Like on page 6, income and poverty included at the end of the paragraph, it doesn't mention, I mean, it's known that Leelanau County is the wealthiest county in the state of Michigan, which sometimes it reflects in our ability to make grant applications, like you're so wealthy, just take care of it yourself. So if we included that we have 46% of our population is designated as ALICE, which is asset limited, income constrained, employed, and schools offer free breakfast and lunch to all students, that would indicate that we should qualify for some consideration for grants. Like the comment that the man made at the executive committee meeting about the disc golf, that kind of recreational opportunity for people that have limited income is very important to be able to access our parks for free. So, yeah. There were some other things that were just little things like on page 10, Sunsweet Township doesn't have a zoning map. And then there was on page 13, that is totally out of focus and you can't read the document, part of the document. So there's some just little things that the incorrect acreage on parks, like the Veronica Valley Park indicates one number and then includes the letter for the grant application to buy the property, and it's a different acreage. So it seems like it reflects poorly on us to have those kind of little tweaks in there that, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't something that we're not gonna do this year.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, it's something to look at when we get started for next year.
So it doesn't get forgotten.
Process,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, just, note it so that we can do that, but it's not a decision we're gonna make today. We can't fix it right now. Anyway. We know it's an ongoing process that we have to do every year.
So I think, like we amended our mission statement and it seemed a little lengthy. Usually a mission statement is something you can kind of repeat easily from memory. Leelanau Energy advocates for renewable clean power for all of Leelanau County. Very simple statement. And goal number 1 in the plan, it looks like that's the mission statement right there. Just put it at the beginning. Be much simpler. Anyway, that's just the way I looked at it and thought, for my input, I'm here, I'm reading it and paying attention.
If you want to serve on a subcommittee next year that's going to be looking for the amendment for the thing, I will be happy to or whoever the chair is as of January.
My 2 cents. Yes.
Do we do that I thought it's a 5-year plan.
It's a 5-year plan, so we'll have to do it, definitely have to make up a new plan by the end of the 5 years. So
Yeah.
to 2030. But you can file an amendment every year.
Oh.
I know in the planning
On
commission.
page 1, it says that the plan can be amended if you
Sure,
found,
sure,
you know,
we don't have to amend it next year.
Yes,
On the planning commission, Lois and I both serve on a subcommittee there where we're doing the master plan.
that general plan.
And general master plan, and we're late. I mean, last time done was 2018, and we're just now doing it, so.
like I said, the
Yeah.
our current master plan will count on a very compressed schedule. Because my experience was it was 2 years to get one done, and we did it in less than 8 months, from start to finish.
That's where you're ready.
How many years? Will I live long?
Yeah, next year.
Okay,
Okay, does that put that item to bed to rest for now?
well, okay.
And consideration of application to fill the commission's vacancy. You want to speak to that, Lauren?
The position or the vacancy has been advertised. I didn't receive any new applications. I went back and looked through previously submitted applications. Many were your own, and several that had been appointed to other boards and commissions. I did reach out to Kathy Dawkins. She's still interested. And she's really the only one right now that has an active application and interest in availability. So I'll wait for your direction if you want me to advertise again. And I'll proceed with what you recommend.
My question would be, in the normal course of business, the Board of Commissioners would be looking to fill vacancies on numerous boards. And that normally happens in December?
Yes, it does. So my task is to go through all of the expiring appointments to see if those expiring appointments would like to be renewed, if they're eligible for another term, or if the vacancy will need to be advertised, and then all of those vacancies will be appointed at the December. There's a special meeting, or so there's a specific meeting where they talk about boards and commissions with the BOC.
So the timeline right now is, I mean, if Kathy said, yes, she would like to serve, our next meeting is actually after the Board of Commissioner meetings in November.
No, if you wanted to offer the partial term to Kathy, it could go on the November BOC meeting schedule, or we could wait until December and do all of them at once. It's up to you.
How many board members here, their terms are expiring?
I don't know. I don't think many. You're new. You weren't here you're here.
Yeah, you're here whether you want to be or not.
I'll have to go through and do an audit of whose terms are expiring here. I'm not sure.
Well, actually, you're serving as a representative of Parks Planning Department, planning, right, Lois?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
You're serving as the Board, the Road Commission representative. You two guys are serving as, so it's between you two and me.
And I think you have just started a 3-year, you might be 2 years into a 3-year.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
47, I think.
So we might not have any terms expiring, but we
Just
do
have one
have a
term.
vacancy for a partial term, which I believe expires end of 26. I think his term ends at the end of 26, but I don't have to go back.
The opening expires at the end of 26, so maybe we do. Well, that doesn't make sense.
It's whether you want to do
Yeah,
it in
I-
November.
Yeah,
or
you can do it 30 days earlier, you can wait 30 days.
I was just waiting, because you get a lot of apps
At the end.
for all the others. Well, traditionally, there has been at least some selections to be made. And when a lot of people are filling out apps, they'll fill out not just for here, but for planning commission, for other. What do you think, Mark?
It's a 30-day window, I mean, really, we can just wait till December and tie it all in a bow when we do all of them. And one thing less to talk about on our next agenda in November, so that we can have a meeting that's 4 hours long instead of 4.5.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. No, I mean, 6-1, happens another, we're doing it again in another 30 days, so I mean, however you wanna do it,
And a lot more positions.
you know.
All right, I mean, I personally, I can see waiting until December, the normal process and not go in right away. But again, you've already reached out to Kathy. Correct?
I did reach out to Kathy and ask if she was still interested in having her application be considered for a vacancy.
So if she responds positively,
And she did.
oh, she already responded positively? I say pull the trigger for the 30 days before and add her to the board, add her to our commission.
It's not much of a process, so I would say I agree with that, just let her.
All right, so I think you run them all together from the board standpoint, and you can. Mark is already approaching workplace harassment because of the long meetings. He's constantly telling me that I'm the reason. I don't understand that.
Case in point. All right, do we need a motion on the floor? I move that we request county board fill the vacant position with Kathy Dawkins. Move that forward to the county board at the next earliest convenience.
Okay, board.
Okay, so motion and support, any other discussion?
Yeah, I would have preferred to just make the vote first, whether to have the first one or the second one, because I don't want to vote against Kathy Dawkins. I just would rather, I think the process more than the person.
So the request is, or the motion is to have Kathy fill the partial vacancy.
Right,
And have it be on the next BOC.
right,
agenda.
agenda, yeah.
Yeah.
Move it forward, get it over.
So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did we have a second?
Second was
Yeah.
Keith. We're down to reports and recommendations. Miles Kimberly Park. Lois, you want to speak for that? Or Jim's in here or?
Jim had contacted the people that are part of the disc golf event and are coalescing, I think, so that you have somebody you could talk to, maybe as a supporting group. So getting the first step of improvements done, maybe having a, I don't know, throw the disc golf in the air and celebrate. Maybe they'll be excited about, we want more, give us some money and we'll go faster. Yeah.
Well, actually, the monies that were approved are both the upgrade to the existing course and the short course, right?
Yes.
Because we're gonna try to get both of them done this year.
I know we're gonna get the new course done. And then we were gonna recycle the old other ones for the practice, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's my understanding that we were gonna do
the
the
existing
upgrades.
course gets upgraded to new baskets, and those baskets go to the new course. So you have to do those for the new course.
And there's a disc golf network where he was gonna put it out officially after the signing on their page.
Okay.
Now, there was a discussion about, that Jim mentioned to me about getting sponsors for each of the holes.
Yeah, he was gonna explore what that looked like on some existing courses somewhere.
Okay, but nothing's firmed up on it. What would we do? How many dollars we would ask for
I don't know.
a
I think we
sponsor?
have to figure out what everybody else does and sort of follow a board.
Okay.
Maybe this could be under the same format as the benches, and then we don't have to do our work twice.
Yeah.
Anything else from Miles Kimberly?
And overall funding for parks, so I did that. mentioned that we were underfunding our recreation in some way, and, how do we develop a funding mechanism? Can you,
You mean through
So
private
building-
or through the county board or?
well, maybe a joint thing, so you have some matching funds for people, so start an endowment fund. We need a nonprofit entity, so it's kind of separated out of the county's money and into a separate area. Fort Farm Barn has a 501c3, I believe, so we do it as a listing under them. For park funds as an endowment. How's that for a dream?
There's laws about spending, investing tax money. And I think that we're right on the edge of that. I mean, we can't take our taxes and play it in the stock market. So, we have to keep our money in secure coffers, and I don't think that's here available to do something like that.
Well, my concern, when I raised my hand and comment about the Fort Barn folks having a 501c3, but they also have a lease for the barn itself. They have a different relationship than somebody that would be buying or funding a bench. More than, if we're going to control what the bench is going to look like, where it's going to be placed and all that, we might as well control the money as well. There's no reason that we can't have we accept donations for other purposes and have a line item within the Parks Fund to do the same. Be possible. I think you'd want to recommend to the Board of Commissioners a process of how they would do that the board would approve. And for a certain donation, you can have the bench. For a certain donation, you can have the sponsor of the pole, and there's a specific recognition that comes along with that. That's something that really should be determined on your recommendation by the Board of Commissioners.
I was just trying to find a way to establish a fund as an endowment that would throw off some cash so that you have a growing cash reserve in some way, but I don't know how other counties do it, so.
No, that's possible. You could have that privately held by a foundation or a 501c3 or something like that. And you pay the interest or whatever, even a portion of the principal as would be determined in the future, could be paid by that foundation to the county for a specific purpose. That could do that. I would think that would be a different sort of process, though, where you're actually just donating money for the purpose of park maintenance or park construction.
Yeah, I know, it's just things that pop into my head. It's really far out kind of idea, starting from zero.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with us accepting donations for a specific purpose or program that's created by the Board of Commissioners on your recommendation to either sponsorships for benches or disc golf, plaque recognition, things like that. That is something that we could definitely do.
And I can help with that like we did. You were in my office when we crafted that. We can get that together pretty quick.
I would like actually to have on the November meeting's agenda the topic of putting together what we're going to need to go to the Board of Commissioners to get approval for the project, for whatever we're going to call this. That would combine both the benches and the disc golf holes and that stuff as the policy and the process that we would use. And actually the funding accounts, the money's come in, it goes into a particular account, which is for Parks and Rec use, that kind of
We
stuff.
can kind of create a donation catalog.
Between now and the November meeting, I'd like to work on something of that nature. Old Settlers Park, you got any updates for us?
Well, the dock is out, the stairs are.
Unobstructed?
The stairs are unobstructed. I just wanted to say that, I received some nice compliments about the disc golf area from some people in the community, so that was good to hear. Yeah, that's all, we have on Settlers is looking good.
Loon Roofing, who got the contract for the roof, dropped off this sample. So if you pick a color, they will start doing the roof. So these are your colors to choose from for your roofing project. So if you all agree on the color,
I was leaning towards black.
we'll let Blake know. And
You're leaning towards black, I'm leaning towards the top row left,
All the way on the left, the brown,
the brown.
yeah.
You should have just brought us 2 shingles.
This is too many choices.
Should have just said the roof, it's being re-roofed.
so
Henry Ford say, your
Yeah.
choice, black or black.
Well, I'm just, right now it's a cedar shaped shingle roof. We're going with this, so just keep the same motif, it would be brown as opposed to black.
I would say brown.
so the top left.
Top left.
Do you want to vote on brown or black? Make it simple.
Isn't this a variegated palette that, I'm
It's
confused.
pretty much.
Good job, Dwayne.
Different shades of brown or different shades
Yeah,
of
right.
black.
Ah, man.
Question is, does the mouse gonna grow on it? That doesn't really matter.
Ah. So I don't understand.
Age park, let's see.
Everything up here is 40-year shingle.
And then it variegates down by size, is
Moss,
that what you're saying?
pine.
I'm not positive on,
Yeah,
but how they
yeah.
shingle, so,
Uh-huh.
but these are your shingle color choices. And
So
he
you're gonna
said he's
use
gonna have
paint
it
colors?
heat, don't bitch wait. And the reason that didn't get done is because we had to winterize the system, so
Right.
there's no water.
So I stay with something that's more brown, more like the shake shingles.
Aged bark.
I'm neutral because it's not really my
Age
part.
park,
Aged bark.
age park. You want to do a motion?
No, I wanna see.
And then we'll nail it.
That-
This
Nail
one.
it down.
What's the name of
What is
that
the
shingle?
two for black?
Route commission.
Age park.
Aged bark is the one,
Aged bark.
so I'll make, no, I don't make motions.
I move that we go with the age park shingles
park.
for the gazebo. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the question.
Patrick, why did you request, I'm sorry,
Go ahead, we're in the discussion phase.
why did you discuss black?
Black goes with everything.
Yeah, there's 2 of them there.
There's a black, then there's a shadow gray.
Oh,
It's subtle,
Motion passed.
but I like bark. I like bark.
okay. Oh, you just wanted decision.
Just get them all the time here, let's go.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion that we go with the aged bark? Say
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Can I have a quick repeat on who made the motion and who seconded?
I made
I second.
Thank you.
it.
That color's discontinued.
And Keith, last but not least, Veronica Valley.
Okay, we are potentially finding a local, if you want to call it local, vendor for the benches and pads. We have not gotten a estimate on doing that, but we are in the process of trying to get that, so it's a local company that would do that. And once we get that, then we can present it,
So they would set the pad, they would,
build the bench.
they would build the bench or just install the bench?
Well, actually, there's options, but he was leaning towards actually building the bench because mainly because of the integrity and materials he was using would be totally, rust resistant, rust proof, there's no rust. And, but really it was integrity. And then he wants to also actually come to one of our meetings, and present, it would be much easier for him to come and actually show us the options.
So Commissioner would be a one vendor, one product.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost a custom bench.
Be a complete install where we wouldn't have to arrange a contractor and
Perfect.
all these different things. They would get the contract to just, here's the spot where you put the pad and the bench, do it.
It would be the company that
Yeah.
did all
same
our
thing.
polls at the veterans and at the entrance to this building. So a local company, US 3170.
They would also do the plaque that goes on the bench.
Yes, yes. They had options there too, if you wanted to go with like a brass plaque or if you actually wanted to do routing. You want to do router, but
Anything else for Veronica Valley?
Unless, Alan, you want to bring up something that.
Well, I know something a little bit different in when we were talking about trees and cutting down some trees. Heather would like to set up a program to put some down trees into the pond itself for habitat. So that's something we probably should, I am really worried about it, but I guess ice is, 6 weeks off, so we should probably start talking about it. So I'll reach out to Heather. Honestly, I can see cutting down some of those trees as you come around that corner so that you can see that way and dumping them in the pond for habitat. That's always been a hazard to me and I've talked about it before. But anyways, that could be an upcoming project. And Lois, on your idea, we talked about establishing these friends organizations as far as volunteers, but it seems to me that's kind of what you're looking at is maybe a Friends of Miles Kimberly that would be a nonprofit outside of county government that could raise money and provide maybe manpower on projects, but mainly would give you a place to funnel money for future park projects outside of county government. And so anyways, we had talked about, we had talked for a while about a pavilion at Veronica Valley. And one of our thoughts was, if it's a $60,000 building, maybe if we as a committee got together 6 folks who all threw in $5,000, you'd have halfway there, and maybe the county board would have a hard time turning down a building that the community was willing to pay half of it. So anyways, we've had that discussion and we're ways off from a pavilion, but we thought that might be one way to get where we need to go.
I mean, personally, I'm trying to think of how we structure these friends groups. Is it one county Friends of the Park group, or is it individual friends groups for each park?
I think individuals, but I mean, it's your call. I could just see the, I don't want to say jealousies, but sense of pride, in one park over another. For a guy who's now a commissioner, the politics things still doesn't sit very well with me. I'm afraid we're setting ourselves up for a lot of those types of situations.
All right, I could see that park getting some support. St. Mary's used it for a cross-country course. Do they use it every time for cross-country course?
Every year,
Yeah, they have.
pretty much every
They
year.
just had it last
Throughout
weekend.
the season?
No, just the
No,
one time.
it's just a
Just one
meeting.
time event each.
Well, if it was promoted in such a way that that was their home course. And they could go in there and clean it up and the course. I know a lot of the schools, the colleges have their own home course. And I can see promoting it through the school. St. Mary's, letting them know they can claim that as their home course. They won't have any ownership, of course, but then enough ownership feeling wise, that they go into and improve the course.
Right. That's good.
And they could have, meets with several schools at one time. That's quite common. I know that a lot of schools have a home course like that. They do that, and they bring in 8, 9, 10 teams and have a big meet.
Yeah, it's like a conference.
Yeah, like conference meet. Now, if they have a home course and when they were approached with it, I think you'd be surprised what that would, the pride issue.
Yeah. I don't think you get any money from the school itself, but the school.
No, not
has
necessarily, but the
a
parents
group of
maybe.
boosters who
Yeah.
would be willing to,
All these kids have parents that.
more importantly, grandparents.
There you go.
Well,
And collaboration is.
There you go.
my kids ran cross country down in Indiana, Wesleyan, down in Indiana. And they promoted, going around in the spring and dressing up the course and cleaning it up. And they took pride in it. It's a beautiful course. And then they would handle tournaments with what they call Little State, which was Taylor University, Butler, and all 10 colleges coming there for a major meet. And it brought a lot of tourism in. It was just, there's a lot of possibilities there.
I don't think I just asked you where you might knock off 4 miles on a front. Just,
So collaboration is a good word in many
Rebecca.
things. And the township, Finley Township might think kindly of it too.
In our meeting, in our minutes from last meeting, Administrator Dyer was talking about property owned by the county at Inspiration Point and Crouch and Bugai. And I just don't want us to like lose track of that and wonder if there's new next steps or where that sits right now. Like, should we put it on the agenda for next meeting?
I mean, did we identify parcels that were potentially suitable for park purposes?
I could see a scenic overlook at, at the Inspiration Point, but yeah.
Not
I
a
mean,
kayaking destination.
I'm still willing to do that, but
is there any flag ground at the bottom and can you access it?
Yeah, it would take some.
Some of it's
There's-
underwater.
it would take
Clearing
some-
work.
yeah, clearing work.
You can access it from the water side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you drive to the water?
To start.
Oh, you cannot drive to it. I
You
thought-
can't drive to it.
No, not right at the moment, you'd have to cross private property.
it's incredibly treacherous to descend from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
200.
there was a parcel at Fausch Road and
Bugai.
Okay.
Bugai Road. I mean,
That's really a prime spot for, I mean, not want to say prime, but it would be a good spot for a park. Backs up to the trail. You could work with tarp trails. I bet you they would love to get involved in something like that. They always are.
okay, so, and right now, who possesses that property?
The road commission.
Road Commission does.
The road commission? So it's a transfer from the road commission to parks or to county? Wherever that has to be transferred?
I know they brought up in one of our last meetings, parcels that the road commission owns that they're going to look into disposing of.
And your last road commission,
2 meetings ago.
okay, was that the one we're talking about?
I'm not sure if it's one of those, but we had some that we can see no need to hold on to.
And disposing of it in what way? Like selling it or giving it back to the county when it's disposing of it?
It's owned by the county, so they're not, the road
Well-
commission just can't.
I would recommend calling Brendan, the managing director, and let him discuss that with you. I do think that's a possibility.
Well, it would be a park that would be closer to an urban area. And it would be on the side of the lake where we have only one park. So it might balance a bit. I mean, I can see it, but I could also see a partnership with tarp trails providing access to their trail back there. So we can put on an agenda, I mean, but I just don't know if we're gonna do any work between now and then.
Well,
So that's
a
18.
suggestion to call Brendan, I can take that on.
Okay.
There's over 18 acres.
We'll see if there's any aptitude for doing it. And do we want to add the expense that would be required for an additional county park? That's the other side of it, to your point. Yes, you bring in the park, you bring it into the park system, now you have it funded, right?
You do.
Maybe it's just getting the land, because looking forward, maybe eventually there's county park offices there. You know,
Then you're gonna wanna hire a county park.
You want to get out of this building, is that what we're doing?
beyond, it'd probably be beyond my tenure.
Yeah, I think so. Way better if you
Keep putting that green on.
affordable house.
All right, let's move on to, do I have any public comment at this point that anybody wants to make?
I just have some quick staff comments. All these suggestions and they're essentially work orders. It's not me. Actually, I need this. What I was gonna spend time with Commissioner Benedict today is we rolled out for the county here, our work orders. Most of you are probably familiar with QR codes. If you haven't used them, everybody has. I'll just do a quick demonstration. I have Jordan brought up these. Right now, we've just opened it up to staff. You guys are definitely county staff. And all you have to do is open up your camera on your phone. And then you put it on this and it makes a direct link to us. And what pops up is a little work order. So if you're seeing things that you want brought up, it will come directly to us. You can also upload pictures.
Yeah.
So if like you took a picture of some of these things that you brought up, it'll come direct to us. And doesn't mean we'll act on it right away, but we will give you feedback. Say, you know, yes, we addressed it, you know, this, or like we set it to address here, or, you know, so in trying to enhance communication and to try to streamline the processes, I can give a quick tutorial for anybody who's not familiar with them, but I had Jordan bring them up. I don't want those out to the public yet because we'll get all sorts of stuff, but definitely from parks commissioners, it's important that you guys have a direct line to us that goes right to our work list, and then we can start triaging with our entire workforce.
Good idea.
Good idea. I don't know if we want to make it where each individual here can do it, or do you want to make it?
Absolutely.
funnel
I mean,
shares of each-
I can always say got no time, you know, but I'd rather have everything listed, you know, that way we can get to it. And it's like, okay, you know, that's what Dwayne does. So he's my maintenance supervisor. What it is, it's creating his list, and then he's gonna select the order and the manpower. And we work on that together, but he's got to direct the guys where to go with, you know, the hours we have available.
I only used my phone once to read a QR code. I don't think I was successful, but that's just me.
Yeah, but it's a lot faster than emails.
I know he's trying to train you and slow learner successful.
But I'll stay after if anybody wants that quick tutorial. I'll walk you through.
So do you have the QR code?
Yep.
Oh, he's got it. Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Right here. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioner comments, any final comments? Keith?
The one idea I had as far as these bench placements is I thought about getting like an 8x16 patio block, stencil bench, and a number on it. So that, and we go wherever we go in our parks to identify a place to put a bench, we would dig a slight shallow hole, set the block down there so it's flush with the ground. And then when the public was, as they're touring the park, if they came upon a spot that they liked for a memorial bench, they could say, okay, I want bench number 3. And that way we can identify it, so we're not always guessing where we think we might want to bench, so.
Could I make a suggestion? I think it's a great idea.
Mhm.
What I would recommend is that you plot it out. We'll get a digital map. We'll get, what's the guy's name?
Rob,
Thank you.
Rob.
Get Rob to make us a nice, clear digital map of the parks and we can block it out there. Cause I'm concerned about, without a bench there, it's gonna miss it mowing
Yeah.
and chew up, an expensive piece
Yeah,
of
So that's
shit.
why you would plan
I
it.
didn't put it down deep enough.
Yeah, you would dig it in a hole where you would have maybe an inch or two of ground above the surface of
And
Yeah, yeah.
that's a possibility. I'm very leery of that without a very prominent marker.
Yeah, we could, you know.
I'd be more in favor of a tag on a tree nearby or something like that.
But
No,
you can-
like when we planted the trees with DTE, we walked through and we planted the spot for every tree on the map. And I think that would be good. Then you guys can all approve of, like, we all agree that these are the spots for benches. And then that can become a document for the Parks Commission.
And then for, it was, you know, you can just walk around too and just do a drop pin in Google Earth, and you got a Latin log, and you just give that Latin log to Rob.
Yep.
And he'll put together a digital map.
And you could even put that on our website. These are the spots available.
Alan, any comments?
I don't want to jump mark.
I said, don't open the door. They're out there.
Okay, Tim,
I'm good.
Lois,
Fine.
no?
We're good.
You're good? I'm good. So we are adjourned.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I mean, they have, they are the host for this.
Yeah. We should probably